Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon whichever time zone you are in. Belated Eid Mubarak to everyone who has celebrated Eid during last 3 days. We hope you enjoyed Eid holidays with your loved ones in peace and health. Despite the length and breadth and immense vastness of the Muslim world, something that is hugely underrated and underreported is the diversity of all these cultures. Our religion might be one, but we definitely are not as homogeneous as the world might think. Today, we are bringing to you a panorama of Muslim world on Eid-ul-Azha, how this Eid is celebrated and in different Muslim cultures, a little peek into the diverse Muslim world. For that, we have very distinguished panel today from two continents. Yes, Asia and Africa. We have with us is Miss Maha Tambal from Sudan. She is passionate activist who is working to promote democracy, rule of law, justice.
Eid Mubarak to you all. I wish you like a joyful and happy returns on every Eid.
Dr. Luthfi Assyaukanie has joined us from Indonesia. He is currently serving as a lecturer in international relations at Paramadina University in Jakarta.
Happy Eid Mubarak for
Thank
all of
you.
us.
And from Nigeria, we have Mr. Ayodele. He's an ardent advocate of social justice and is working to promote and defend the rights of the artists to freedom of expression.
Eid Mubarak to all Muslims around the world.
Thank you.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spare our life to see many, many more Eid.
Very warm welcome to all of you. As I said, all of you are personal inspiration for your work and for your passion for the human rights. When it comes to Eid, first and foremost task is to determine the dates of the Eid, and that depend upon the moon sighting. And moon sighting is a huge issue throughout the Muslim world. So let's start with Maha. Maha, can you please briefly tell us how the Eid dates are decided in Sudan? Who is responsible for moon sighting? Is it the government or the government appointed some independent body, or citizens do their own bit? Because in Pakistan, moon sighting is always a big issue, a huge issue.
We have kind of an authority that's been like commissioned just to announce the days of Eids, particularly. Usually we had a debate during concerned with Ramadan and Sha'ban, just like to observe Ramadan. But when it comes to Eid-ul-Adha, it's a bit straightforward because we have been already on the right track during Sha'ban, Ramadan, and so on. And we are observing the Hajj protocols in KSA. So most of Sudanese communities are relying on the announcement of the government authorities. However, we have some communities in western part of Sudan and some in the eastern part of Sudan. They do not rely on the official announcement. They used to observe the moon by themselves, and that's ended up with having kind of 2 or 3 times of Eid. Like we have delays of 1 to up to 3 days differences between each communities.
In Indonesia, the decision of the date of Eid-ul-Adha is made by Ulama Council in Indonesia, and Ulama Council is composed of some Islamic organization. There are 2 major Islamic organizations, Muhammadiyah and NU, Nahdlatul Ulama. Generally, from the government side, Ulama Council issued a fatwa or a decision of the D-Day.
In Nigeria, the Eid-ul-Adha is actually the bigger one, the bigger celebration. And, the federal government declares 2 working days in commemoration of the festival. While growing up, it had always been, my observation was there always been a kind of polarized Muslim community in Nigeria, where you have, of course, Muslim majority in the north, and in southwest you have, 50-50 spread of Muslims and Christians. So in my community, the southwest of Nigeria, predominantly Yoruba people, we often, experience situations where the northerners would celebrate Eid a day before ours. So what they've been doing for the past 10 and to 12 years, which has worked very effectively, is the Sultan, who is the spiritual leader of all Muslims in Nigeria, will make a national broadcast on the 29th day, because the Eid-ul-Fitr is actually the problematic one. So on the 29th day of Ramadan, in the evening before midnight, the Sultan will make a national broadcast which everybody recognizes. So, and the process was that there are regional heads by prominent Muslim, leaders in the regions who have committees, a moon sighting committee that will sight the moon. So whatever information were collected before midnight of the 29th of Ramadan, for the Sultan to make a national broadcast. So for the past 10 to 12 years, there has been uniformity and unity in terms of when Eid is celebrated in Nigeria.
In Pakistan, the Eid-ul-Azha is celebrated for 3 consecutive days. So people who have who have multiple sacrificial animals to slaughter on Eid-ul-Azha, they divide them among these 3 days. And some because they have to hire butchers, etc. So on the 3rd day, the butchers are also very cost effective. So there's they divide on the 3 days. So we always have 3-day holiday, and women are always busy making different kinds of meat-based dishes on Eid-ul-Azha all the 3 days. And there are so many guests coming, so women are normally very, very busy.
We usually starting the first day of Eid very early. And because we've been growing, Port Sudan is a bit different city, and people there are so tolerant, and we have been growing with different other groups, other religions. We have some Jewish, we have some Christians, and we have lots of neighboring Christian families. We usually share this kind of religious celebrations together. So they come and pass by our home and say Eid Mubarak, and sometimes share with us some cuisines and so on. But for the first day, we usually wake up earlier than usual. All people go to the mosque for prayers. By the end of the prayer, the Imam is being like slaughtering his first sacrifice. So it's kind of a permission for all people in the neighborhood to go and do their sacrificing. As you said, like usually women doing everything. And we have kind of a very local drink. It's made of dates. It's called sherbet. So we put in it some yeast, so it make it very easy to digest. Also, we have another drink which is composed of lemonade and yogurt. We just like blended them together, and it is also with some ice. It's very nice, and it helps to digest all this kind of meats we eat during that day. So this is how it goes usually.
Yeah, it's actually very similar to what happens in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Luthfi, you will not, because you are a man and you will go out, say prayers, and then come back and eat, and then, do something, and then your guests will come, and then you will eat again, and then you will sleep. Is that so in Indonesia?
Look, Marvi, this year, Eid-ul-Adha happened in a very special time. Apart from the pandemic, people mostly stay at home. And also it occurred in Friday. So we have basically 3 days consecutively. In a normal time, if it happened in the working days, we only have 1 day holiday usually. But this year we have 3 days at least for celebrating the Eid. But now, Marvi, that's tradition is declining now
Oh.
because partly, I think, because of the influence of uh, Arab uh, uh, Arab understanding of Islam. In the past, it is kind of taboo to slaughter cow in our tradition, but recently, due to this influence, I see in some places they also sacrifice cow. Very unfortunate.
In Nigeria, people fast in the morning, before Eid. You go to the Eid, fasting. So usually there are variations I will focus on Yoruba culture, Yoruba Muslim culture. You go early around 9, between 9 and 10, when Eid prayer is observed in most Eid grounds. So the Imam initiates the process of slaughtering the ram. Most of the responsibilities of getting the animals sacrificed, slaughtered and all that rest on the men, and the cooking rests on the women. In Nigeria, generally in Nigeria, rams are considered more rewarding, more symbolic, as sacrificial animals, on Eid day.
Most of Sudanese people are usually slaughtering sheep. They do not slaughtering goats or rams.
And usually in Indonesia, traditionally, we sacrifice goats and sheep and also buffalo. Especially in Java area, buffalo is very important because traditionally Indonesia was predominantly Hindus before Islam came. So when the Eid-ul-Azha came, the ulama decided not to slaughter cow because cow is considered holy and sacred by the Hindus. So I think our ulama in the past tried to avoid conflict and didn't want to hurt our Hindu friends. So the cow was replaced by buffalo. So in Java area, you rarely see cow as a sacrifice in Idul Korban, only in certain part of area.
That's
So
very
that's the
very interesting and
yeah
very
that
impressive actually.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
that happened
impressive.
in
Because Luthfi, in Pakistan, Muslims are in majority, and I'm sure as we all know, in Indonesia as well, Muslims are in majority. It is so impressive to see the Muslims where they are in majority, they still are courteous enough to they have the sensitivity about the other communities, and they have and the ulama have come forward.
Most people, there are people that there used to be this competition. People would keep to buy rams well in advance of Eid day and use them to fight for competitions and all that.
The preferred sacrificial animal in Pakistan is goat, and then comes buffalo or cow. The third animal is camel. People because camel has a more contribution, so more people can contribute to one camel, and it's further cheaper. And then camel meat is also in the southern part of Pakistan, especially, is relished. And camels are, because that is a desert, and camels are in quite a good number. Where does the slaughter happen? At homes, at slaughterhouses? What is the mechanism? Do people do it themselves or hire the butchers? Where does the residue go, etc.?
In Sudan, people doing the slaughtering at homes, like each individual or each group of household, they're doing the slaughtering within their home. Usually, households, if they know how to slaughter, they do it by themselves. If they don't, they just hire a butcher to do it on behalf of them. Then the butcher, when he performs the slaughtering, usually within the deal, he takes the head and the skin, usually. I think people feel like slaughtering in front of home or inside home is kind of take off or help them to get rid of any bad feelings, and it gives them kind of blessings. And yeah, and sometimes it's kind of a social contribution, so that people could see that if they have any kind of waste or anything in front of the door, so it just giving indicator that, oh, these people have been like, yeah, they have sacrificing, and they just kind of social appearance.
People slaughter at homes.
Okay.
And, aside the fact that, people feel it from they feel a sense of some spiritual cleansing and spiritual, reward from doing that. There's also the status, the social status and perception attached to it. When people don't see blood in front of your house on the day of Eid, it means something is wrong. That you have not sacrificed. The interesting thing about Nigeria is, apart from the fact that you have blood on the ground and some waste, they don't really litter the environment, because after the animal is sacrificed, it's processed immediately, and there are already the needy awaiting this meat.
So what happens to the animal skin?
Actually, generally people are concerned more on meat rather than skin. I mean, skin is very minor issue. We have kind of, we call it beduk, like a drum, which is made out of animal skin. So usually the skin are distributed to mosque and small mosque, we call it musola, and the rest of it just distributed to people who want to use it. In general, people, I think, even until today, were not so concerned about the skin. They are mostly concerned about the meat and how to use it.
So what are women's interests on Eid? On Eid, there are special stalls of bangles. Bangles are the most, it's very strongly connected with Eid.
In Eid-ul-Fitr, last 10 days of Ramadan, usually women and even men start going to do kind of shoppings, new clothes, new house items, some curtains, cushions, bed sheets, carpets, anything. But it's a season to renew your furniture and every stuff in the home. Also, married women used to go to the hairdressers to do kind of drawings, henna, in their hands and in their feet. And also girls going to hairdressers just to make their hairs, their skins, their brows, everything. The Eid al-Adha kind of similar, but people usually so busy preparing salads, preparing kind of drinks, and I mean it's just like a holiday for eating.
Talking about the timing of Eid prayer, like I mentioned earlier, people fast to go to Eid. For Eid-ul-Fitr, you eat at home first before you go to Eid.
Okay.
At home, so it usually takes place from 10 to 11 a.m. That's Eid-ul-Fitr. For Eid-ul-Adha, you fast, you don't eat. When I was much younger, I noticed that, for rams, they use the hairy skin. A lot of people use the hairy skin. There's a way they cropped it out and process it in a way that, they transform it to a praying mat. Many people also use the skin and hide as actually meat, part of meat. The preferred animal, the first grade, the most symbolic, is ram, followed by, for families or for, Muslim public figures, They also complement with cows. Then you have goats. So in southwest Nigeria, where I come from, our goats are traditionally black. And we use the skin of those black goats for our talking drums. So we don't sacrifice black goats because somehow, our traditional talking drums relate to our traditional religion used to invoke the spirit of the ancestors. So there's a tension. You're doing Islamic sacrifice, you don't use black goats.
Okay.
So we use goats from the north. If you don't wear flowing traditional attires, we have traditional, and of course, cap is like symbolic of our celebration. As a Muslim, you are recognized as a Muslim when you wear cap. The way I wear it. So if you don't wear cap, you're not seen. You're not considered a Muslim. If you wear, what I'm wearing today is because it's not heat. I can't wear this to heat. It doesn't look like you respect the tradition. So we have long flowing, this thing that covers your body, that makes you look gorgeous, and that's the tradition.
We have our own traditional clothes, particularly for the men.
Particularly for men, okay.
Particularly for men, because for women, I think they just usually wear the long dress and hijab, and not many ornament in it. I mean, particularly recently, as many people coming from Mecca, from Hajj, they're wearing, like an Arab style with a very monotone style of clothes. Although we have our own local traditional dress, actually. We call it batik, for example. Batik is kind of flowery motif on the dress, and every provinces or every areas in Indonesia, they have their own style of batik. So some of them are used in Islamic holiday, and in certain tradition, even batik is associated with religious garb in general. So that's mostly happen with men, not with women. But women is very simple clothes, I think.
And what about the time of the prayers? Which time is preferred time for prayers?
Mostly in the morning, after, I think, starting 6:30 in the morning, and both men and women are gathering in one place, sometime in mosque, sometime in the open space. Okay. And in some places, only women are performing the praying. For example, my mother-in-law used to be an imam for her gathering.
Wow.
Her house. Yeah.
Wow. And this is a common practice, women also
Very
say
common.
prayers. Oh, this
very
is
common. My own mother is imam. My mother-in-law is an imam. Whenever in Islamic holiday, Islamic calendar, when there is a prayer gathering, they become an imam. For female only.
Oh, for female only, yeah.
Yeah, for
because
female only.
It became a huge issue in Islamic world when Amina Budud started being a imam.
The issue of imam for women is a debatable issue in Sudan, and similarly to Luthfi, I think it goes to the religion mazhabs that the country follows. So for Maliki mazhab, it's a debatable issue for women imam, but usually in Eid, like women and men, they just line up, like the women just lining in behind men in the prayers, and this just they perform prayers together, either in open space or in the mosque.
Not only men go to Eid on Eid day, men and women go to Eid, but of course there's a clear separation between men and women. And it's not a common practice in Nigeria for women to lead. Well, even women always, pray behind men, clearly separated. Yeah. So I'm fascinated to hear what is happening in Indonesia. That women can actually
so fascinating.
Yeah.
Women can actually lead prayers.
Yeah.
For women, no, it doesn't happen in Nigeria. It's not a practice in Nigeria.
I think it's a reflection of tradition too. In Indonesian history, for example, we have women heroine in the past, Muslim heroine. Not only men who were involved in war or in struggle, but also women. That's why we have women heroine in our history. And most of them were Muslims, not only Muslim, but ulama, knowledgeable person. In Aceh, in in West Java, in Sulawesi, for example. I mean, that kind of tradition has been there in our culture. So this is an extension of our tradition. You know, Marvi, you have a very good scholar by name Fazlur Rahman in the past. Fazlur Rahman was a scholar. I think he died in United States. He lived around 1950s, 1960s in Pakistan and was expelled because of his views.
Liberal views.
Very liberal views, but he's a very religious one. I mean, he's a very good professor.
Mm-hmm.
He even recruited many international Muslim students. One of them are a scholar from Indonesia, and then influenced Fazlur Rahman school of thought in Indonesia. They are very liberal. And it's very unfortunate that Fazlur Rahman is not welcome in his own country, but quite acceptable by other Muslim countries, particularly in Indonesia. I mean, in Indonesia during 1980s, late 1990s, many young Muslims were influenced by Fazlur Rahman's ideas.
As many colors and as many shades as God has created on its great green earth. Muslim world is not monotonous. Muslim world is essentially not homogeneous. Thank you very much for viewing us today.